So I'll tell you a little story while we wait to start. About 1,000 and some years ago, 1,300 years ago? Anyway, a Sufi from northern Afghanistan, from a place called Chisht, was asked or told, or it was suggested, probably by a teacher or a guide, go to India. They don't have a lot of Sufis there. I don't know, I wasn't there, so I'm making this up. But anyway, he decided to go. And he made his way to India. He went through the northwestern state of India that is called Rajasthan into the heart, the central north part of India. And I believe he went as far as Delhi. And then he decided he didn't care that much for Delhi. Delhi was the center of the sort of the imperium, where everyone sort of came in and created a kingdom, and then someone else came in and kicked them out and created another kingdom, and someone else came in and kicked them out and created. There were 7 cities in Delhi before Delhi became Britishized and became New Delhi and Old Delhi. So anyway, he went to Delhi and he didn't like the climate or the people, or he liked somewhere better. So he went back to a place called Pushkar, which is near a town called Ajmer in Rajasthan. And he hung out there. There was this lake in Pushkar, and all around the lake were little sort of prayer festivals going on every day, all day, or at least in the evenings. And hundreds of Hindu mystics and what are called pandits who recite prayers and sing chants and so on. So people get together in the evenings with their, around this light or maybe a little fire, and they would ring bells and they would sing songs, and it would all be very, very, very inspiring and atmospheric out by a lake, in the heart, actually, edge of a desert, and beautiful stars above, clear sky, no light pollution. So he hung out there and thought, well, maybe some people will come my way. And so he sat, and some people came by and said, hey, you look like a nice guy, what do you do? He says, what music do you do? I don't do music. So, okay, we'll catch you later. And they went on. So after this happened for a couple of months, I think, being a smart guy, he realized that he had to have music. Or in India, you were not going to attract people. And so he, probably by then, he was a luminous being. His name, by the way, was Hazrat Moinuddin Chishti. He had probably 2 or 3 students who had good voices, and he invited them to sing. And where they started was with phrases of, like sacred sayings. So, not just, for example, La ilaha illallah, but sayings of Prophet Muhammad, sayings. Are you?
I'm trying to catch his eye. He's thinking there's nowhere to sit. Sorry.
And there was this problem also.
Called the madzub.
So anyway, he said to them, hey, sing these things. And so they began to sing. And, first they began to intone them in a serious kind of way, la, 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 and so on, maybe influenced a little bit by the Buddhists who were not that far away. And then he said, just jazz it up a little bit, please. even I'm falling asleep here. So then they began to sing more phrases, and they began to bring a little sway into it, a little swing into it, and gradually more and more people, because now, a drum maybe got added, and maybe a drum or two drums, and maybe even a bell or a reed instrument or a zither, and soon there was a little party going. And so Moinuddin began to get more and more people. And then, as I said, he was a luminous being. Gradually, as more people came, he acquired status and followers. And eventually, he had to move from Pushkar to the nearby larger city of Ajmer, where he established the center. And he was the first in India of the Chishti Sufis. And the Chishti Sufis, there are 1,000, maybe 10,000, 5,000 Sufi orders or brotherhoods or organizations. But there were some large ones under which the others were sometimes organized. And Chishtiya became one of the really large ones. And the thing that was common about Chishti was that they embraced music. India was the heart of their spread and their influence, and they embraced music. After Moinuddin, there's this tradition in Sufi orders or lineages that you hand over the cloak or the mantle to the next teacher. And so Moinuddin did that, and then it went to someone else, and then it went to Hazrat Khaja Nizamuddin Auliya, who lived in Delhi. He didn't have a problem with the Sultanate or the kingdoms and the courts. In fact, he had his own court. It was called the time of two courts. And he had this amazing student, disciple, devotee. You choose the word that appeals to you, but this was a man who he belonged in the court, and he roamed the court freely. He was a very polished speaker of Turkish and Persian, and at the same time, he was an absolute, fall down dead before him devotee of Hazrat Khaja Nizamuddin. And he was a musical and a literary and a kind of a playful genius. And so Nizamuddin said to him, maybe, again, I wasn't there, this Qawwali thing that we've started, it started being called Qawl, just these, but then, stories got into it and so on, and became Qawwali. He said, the Qawwali thing, I want you to put it on a more substantial musical footing. And so then, this person, who's this great genius, Hazrat Amir Khusro, he created a small school, a starting group in a small school that were called Qawwal Bacche, the Qawwal children. I mean, none of them were kids, you understand, these were all adults. But that's where the tradition of Qawwali kind of cohered into a musical school that centered initially in Delhi and the east of India, and then it moved south also to Hyderabad and spread further around. So the Qawwalis that we sing, my teacher, his name was Miraj Babu, Miraj Ahmad Nizami. He was one of the senior Qawwals at the Dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin in Delhi. And I had the good fortune to learn some Qawwali from him. As I've said somewhere else, my knowledge is like that and his knowledge is infinite. And that's true. He was an amazingly studious, studied person. But he was from the Qawwal Bacche Gharana. In fact, toward the end of his life, he was the head of the Gharana. And they specialize in Delhi in doing the music, or some of the music, of Hazrat Amir Khusro. And so we will start with a very famous invocatory Qawwali called Man Kunto Mola. Man Kunto Mola is based on a saying attributed to Prophet Muhammad, what's called a hadith, a recorded saying, a verified saying. And the words are Man Kunto Mola, Fahaza Ali un Mola. Whoever accepts me, Muhammad, as Mola, as master or guide, prophet, but more, Ali is their master also. And so among Sufis, many Sufi lineages, this is kind of a credo, because it is seen as an external indication of what Sufis believe to be true, that the internal knowledge, the esoteric knowledge, was passed on by Prophet Muhammad to his daughter Fatima and his son-in-law Hazrat Ali. So we'll start with that Man Kunto Mola, which it was this hadith that Hazrat Amir Khusro took and sort of framed in a melody, and then he added to it what is called a tarana, which is a little bit like scat, in the sense that the syllables don't mean anything, except that with Amir Khusro you could never be sure that it didn't mean anything. So they do mean something. But what they mean, nobody is absolutely sure. And then it becomes a vehicle for what's called mankabat, which is praise of great personalities, saints, teachers. And so from being this hadith about Hazrat Ali, they then come verses that are called, if they're taken from other poets, they're called gire, and they're added into this song, and together it becomes a mankabat, a paean of praise to Hazrat Ali. So we'll start with that.